Stay tuned for today's Antidote, brought to you by the Renegade Success Network. Today's Antidote features a healthy dose of thought-provoking insights and information for business owners, entrepreneurs, leaders, and nonprofit professionals. Each day since March of 2020, this program has offered that one thing to help you continue on your own unique pathway to success. And now, Renegades, we bring you Bob Graham and Tom Brush.
Hey.
Good morning. How are you today, Bob?
I'm good, Tom. I'm having some fun early. So, when I have fun early, that means the rest of the day is going to be even more fun. Here we go.
Well, this may be a good addition for you to listen closely to as we work through what we're talking about. Anyhow, good morning, everyone. My name is Tom Brush, and that's Bob Graham, and this is today's Antidote, our daily Facebook Live, where we try to provide that one thing to help you move forward along your own unique pathway to success. And this week, we are talking about results, about what they are, how to react to them, what to do. And today, we want to talk a little bit about what to focus on. Because I think one of the biggest challenges we face is, okay, we have this action we want to take, and then we get these results. And if we are open to it, we get a ton of results. So trying to figure out, what are we focusing on, either in determining what results are we looking for or based on the results that we've got. Because there will be a lot of data that you get from any action if you take the time to review it. So what are your thoughts on that, Bob?
Well, first, Tom, I want to offer people the opportunity. We love your comments. We love to hear that one thing that is that you're getting from this. So we will come up with our one thing later. But if something strikes you as we go, please put it in the comments. We try to integrate those comments into the program. And also, it's a great way for all of us to learn from each other, because so often that makes a big difference. So with that, Tom, I want to focus on the results in an area that most people spend time with and many of us struggle with, and that is the networking event. One of our personal favorites. This is actually one of the things that I think brought Tom and me together, was our continued frustration at networking events, that they weren't delivering the results that we were looking for. And I think a lot of people go to networking events, and in the world we're in now, it's Zoom events. And they go to networking events thinking that they're going to find a new customer, a new client. And I think that's a result that would be nice. But as I said at an event a couple of weeks ago, when was the last time you saw people signing a contract at a networking event? I've never heard anyone in a networking event go, I'll send you a contract and we'll be good to go. Usually, the result that I'm looking for from a networking event is a person who I think is worth additional discussion. That person that I want to get to know better. They may have said something that struck me as odd or unusual. They may have shared something that's like, oh, really? Wow, you went to St. Mary's College, Maryland. I spent a semester there. It may be that they love the Ravens, or they're big about the college basketball tournament. Those things that aren't even work, because the reality is, unless I go to the networking event saying I'm looking for an accountant that does small business LLC financing. Okay, that's a needle in a haystack. And I think that's one of the places where networking is an area where we all have this expectation. We expect the result to be, I'm going to find new customers. And that's a faulty expectation, because it's asking too much. Does that make any sense to you?
It is. I would maybe just use a different word other than faulty, because it could happen, right? It has happened. People have walked away from a network and being like, oh yeah, that's somebody who, maybe we need another conversation or something else, but they do become a client or a customer. And I think so it could be a result that we receive. Just if that's the only expectation, the likelihood is that you're going to walk away from that event feeling frustrated that the results didn't meet the expectation. And I think that's, to me, sometimes where we struggle is we don't have enough things to focus on, whether in what we are expecting and what we actually get out of it. because if you walk away from that event and you're like, yeah, I didn't meet anybody. So now your next thing is, all right, well, that it was the event or it was the group or whatever. I didn't mingle enough. It's not deeper looking at what was my purpose. Was my purpose broad enough to potentially get the results that I was looking for? If you go into that networking event looking with an expectations of a variety of things, now you're thinking, okay, it's not just about, I got to go find a client. All right, who can I talk to because I haven't found my client yet? And my goal in this is to find a client. All right, and I just have to keep talking to people until I find a client, and you might miss other things.
Right. Because it could be that someone there isn't actually the person who is your client, but there's someone who knows 20 of your potential clients because that's their expertise. And if you're just looking for clients, there might be that great connector. So let's say you're looking for the accountant and someone comes and goes, I'm the executive director of the Baltimore Accounting Association. Well, they're not an accountant. Right. So you might pass them over. Meanwhile, that person's like, oh, we do events every month. We're always looking for speakers. Would you like to come in and speak to our group? Ding, ding, ding. And I think part of that discussion of results is I find that when I look at the long-term goal of results, so my goal is to double my business this year, or my goal is to expand my client base. I was talking to someone yesterday and they were like, I've got 5 clients right now. I'd like to get to 10 by June. That's an easier result to work with because those 10 clients might come in a completely different area than what they expect. But if it's like, I want 5 clients who have 4 employees and they all live in within 3 miles of my home, that'd be a great result. It would be great to have clients like that. That'd be beautiful. But is that realistic? And I think it's right sizing our expectations to the possibilities and being open to more opportunities, because sometimes the results, if the goal is to get 10 clients, but you meet someone who suddenly says, oh, I have 5 companies. I'd love for you to represent all of them. Okay, you might have 14 clients.
Sure. Well, and I think that it's a lot about, when we're thinking about results, it's the pre and the post to me. It's like, okay, when you go into it, what are the things you're trying to understand based on this action? Take this action and you're like, okay, what might work out? What might not? What might be the results? And then at the end, you get some results, and sometimes it's you focus too minutely on one, and you forget about the other. So, a part of my work is with nonprofit organizations. And for them, fundraising events are a huge part of what they do. And so often I find that the only thing that they're worried about, the only thing that defines a good event or not, is the amount of money they raise based on what they hoped they were going to raise. And so they can go through all this work, have this amazing event. And if they, for some reason, 6 people don't buy auction items or 6 auction items don't get bought and they miss their target dollar goal, they think the event is a failure. And I often say to them, one of the first things I ask, all right, as you're planning this event, what are your monetary goals and what are your non-monetary goals? And they look at me like, wait, what do you mean? Because they haven't thought about what are the other benefits that this event could bring. You have all these people at it. Now you have a chance to message to them. And what's the value of that? Now you have a chance to meet maybe new people. What's the value of that? And the long-term results could be more beneficial than the long-term results of you reaching your dollar goal or not. And I think that when we are laser focused on one result, we sometimes miss the opportunity to understand more about an action than we could.
It's funny you bring that up. I was thinking of a 5K run I did a couple years ago, and it was for a charity, and they had to change the course the day before because there was a water main break right in the middle of the path. So they changed course, and the next day they only lost like 3 people. They had like 400 people who were participating, and they only lost 3 people. And I went up to the organizer I had met and said afterwards, "It was a great race. It was really nice. You learned something." She's like, "What did we learn?" I said, "You learned that you people really care, because the difference in location, and you also learn that you can communicate with people effectively overnight. How much does that show you about the people you're dealing with, about your communications? If you made no money at all, you got 2 really huge lessons." And she said, "I just hope the money still came in." And I'm thinking, okay.
And it's not that that's not important. It's critical for those organizations. They need to raise it. And I think they are, we're so focused on that. I have to accomplish this for great reasons. I need to keep my business running. I need to get more clients. I need to keep my business running, that we miss the opportunity to understand other things that may, in the long term, be more beneficial. Not saying that the result of raising that money, finding a client, finding new customers, selling your widget, getting in front of your, communicating appropriately with your team aren't critically important. They are. They're just, I think when that's all we're focused on, we miss opportunities to really learn a whole lot more about what's going on within our organization.
I think there are a lot of great surprises that if you start looking around at things, and I think we have that opportunity every day.
Sure.
I learned something this morning about my technology. It turns out, Tom, I was using a different device yesterday to make some connections, and I just disconnected it, and I could see the computer got brighter. This was a purchase to make my life easier. Turns out there's a limitation to this purchase. That's not what I intended to have happen at 5 till 8 this morning. But that's a great lesson that this is not the long-term fix for me. I need to go look some more. So now I know that the connections I make to my computer influence my ability to do what I want to do. And that's a great result, that if I had been just like, what was I at 5 up? Tom, I can't make this work. This is driving me crazy. It's 2 days in a row. What is wrong? But when I stepped back, once we started doing the program, and I was thinking about it, I'm like, oh, this is the variable. This changed the result. This simple change of a device changed the result. And if I can isolate the variable, that's when I can start to look at the result more effectively. And maybe you want to tell people about what we've been doing in the last 24 hours to isolate results.
It's probably a little bit more than you, but I will share it because you'll get all worked up about it. I think if I'm talking about the right thing. One of the things people look at is, you send out an email message and you look at how do people react? Do they open it? Do they respond to it?
Click on the links.
Do they click on the links? Do they open it? What action are they taking the action that you hope they will? And, I think we felt like we were focused on one piece of it. One was the number, and the number kept going up for a couple of our emails. And we're like, wow, people are really interested. And then we started diving deeper into it because it's something about it seemed odd. And had we only focused on the number, we would have just blindly kept going and saying, wow, this is great. People love our stuff. When we dove deeper into it and looked at some more of the details, we understood that, maybe there's something in here that's not working right, because these numbers don't seem right. So it allowed us to try to figure that out. And we made a couple of adjustments and next steps because we realized there was something we were doing that was not helping our open rates or our click rates. And had we never dove deeper into, if we had only been concerned about what is the open rate and what's the click rate, we'd have just kept being like, wow, this is getting really good. And we'd have gone on blissfully thinking that things were great, rather than stepping back and saying something about this is interesting. How can we better understand more than just this click rate? How can we dive deeper into what is actually happening here? And is it producing the results that it should be or not? And I think it's so easy. And I think especially happens when you get good results, right? You get really good results. Like if you had that fundraising event or you go to that networking event and you land 3 clients, you're like, this is the way to go. I just have to keep doing this, and you're like, okay, well then I go to the next one and the next one and the next one and the next one. And you're not like, wait a minute, what's going on? Why am I not getting the same results? And rather than focusing on all the things that happen, you just focus on the one piece of information, which I think just limits our ability to influence our knowledge, experience, and perspective. If only thinking about one piece of the result, that has a very small influence. If we look at a variety of things that we're looking for going in and measure on the way out, we can have a much greater influence on our knowledge, experience, perspective, and ultimately change what's real for us.
One of the other things, Tom, when we were looking at those email campaigns and looking at the results, you and I were both looking at them. And we were looking at them in different ways. I've done a lot of those campaigns over the years, and I was saying these things don't add up. You were looking at it a different way. And because we each looked at it different ways, I think we came to whoa, yeah, okay, yeah, see what we mean? Yeah, no, you are right. And I think that's one of the problems with results as a solopreneur, like so many of the people that we're talking about. They only have their own counsel. They have to, you have the discussion with yourself. Well, 20% open rate, that's really great. Oh, 21%, oh, that's really great. Well, what if you look at the 21% and you see, like I saw, someone whose email doesn't exist anymore was one of the people that opened it. And they clicked on all the links. That's impossible. I know that. I checked the email. I sent an email. It came right back. Undeliverable doesn't exist. So when we have, and that's what led me to start bringing it up with you. Hey, Tom, something's fishy here. You could have said to me, get over it, love the results, keep going, or let's talk through it. And I think when we're by ourselves, it's harder to get the critical mass, to get the flywheel moving in a direction enough that gets us to say, yeah, this feels off to me. And I think that's one of the things, that's why we created our laser solution sessions, is to give people the ability to talk to someone and very quickly get to, okay, what's the issue? All right. What are the possibilities? Have you looked at this? Have you looked at this? And solve that. You and I basically yesterday did a laser solution session for each other.
Sure.
We do them, some days 5 times for each other. Sometimes, sometimes they're 3 hours long.
Right.
But the ability to work together to achieve a result or to find what's really real makes it so much easier. And I worry about the people that just don't have the outlet that they can talk to someone. Because if you talk to your spouse, if you talk to your friends, they're not the same. I was talking to a client yesterday, a coaching client, and his wife was driving, and he was in the car talking, and he had it on speakerphone. And at one point, I said to the wife, this must bore you. She's like, no, this is amazing. You literally are saying the same things I say to him all the time, but he listens to you. And I said, well, I'm sorry about that. She's like, no. Your check is the first check I'm going to write each month. This is so valuable because I dislike when he comes home and he wants to talk to me about all this work stuff. And I got my own work stuff. I have my own life. And I think we do that with a lot of people around us. You have to find those people. And unfortunately, we're all so busy with our own lives. Most of us generally don't have 2 hours to go, hey, Tom, I've got some issues with my email campaign. Can we talk through it? It's like they just, yeah, whatever. Oh, you got 20% open rate? That's awesome. Right. God, I've never heard of anything so great. And you go on your way, doing the same thing, getting the same result without refining things, without starting to look at ways to improve things.
Yeah, no, I think it's funny. I think you actually learn a lot more when you get really good results and you don't just accept them. And you start to really dive into them and learn about, okay, what were the things? Almost to say like, all right, we know that. What didn't go as well as we thought? How can we dive deeper into this to say, All right, great. Yeah, we raised, we had 10 more clients than we expected this year. That's awesome. All right, what about that? Not just celebrating that. What were the things that led to that happening? Same thing on a negative result. You could just be like, hey, you know what? We had 5 less clients this year and raised, and made less money, yet we had less expenses. So if you don't look at the entirety of something, it's really hard to get the full picture of the judgment we may make based on one piece of results. And
I think often what the thing that's going on in the last 10 months has been, well, it's because of the pandemic.
Sure.
Our sales are down 40% because of the pandemic, or we can't do that because of the pandemic. And I think that's one of the false positives that we give ourselves, that we blame everything on the pandemic because it's easier than going, geez, wow, if I'm going to have a successful business, I need to figure this out. And this might be here for a while, and I might need to change because we will need to go forward from this. Everything's going to be different. I can tell you right now, networking events are going to be different going forward. I think you're going to see trade shows be incredibly different if they even exist.
Sure.
And I think face-to-face meetings, I talked to 2 people last week. I can't wait till we get back to face-to-face meetings. I hate Zoom. I'm like, you better get good at Zoom. Because we live in Baltimore. There is no way I will drive to a meeting in Northern Virginia if I can avoid it by doing a Zoom meeting. Because that's a 4-hour drive between the 2 ways, if you're lucky. And why would I do that when this works perfectly well to achieve every result? And Absolutely. So we've got to start thinking about what are the results we're looking for and not giving once the pandemic's gone, this will all work itself out. It doesn't work that way.
So as we start to wrap up, Bob, what's your one thing for today?
My one thing for today is don't accept the easy result as the only result. There's more to be found behind that result. Ask the questions.
Excellent. I like that. I think that's good. And I think to help you do that, I would also suggest have more things that you think might happen. Have more goals. Don't just have one goal. Like our goal is, I got to go get a client at this networking event. What are the other things that you could incorporate into that? So it makes you almost have to do more evaluation on the back end to better understand the results. All right, everyone. Well, thanks so much for joining us today. We were talking a lot about networking events today, and I just want to share that our next group networking event is coming up next Tuesday. It is Tuesday, February 9th. It'll be at 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. There will be information inside the Ring of Renegades Facebook group about that event where you can sign up. It is on Zoom. And as we've said before, but we'll continue to say, it is different. It's going to give you an opportunity to have more than one goal come out of it and an opportunity to meet and connect with people in a way that at most networking events you don't have the opportunity to. So we hope that you will join us and become a part of that. If you are not yet a member of our Ring of Renegades Facebook group, please join us. It's a private group where we are gathering people who are renegades or want to be renegades so that they can help figure out their next steps along their own unique pathway to success. It's easy to join. You just go to Facebook, search for Ring of Renegades. It's a private group because we want to create a safe space. You just have to ask to join and tell us why you're a renegade. So I hope that you will join us inside the Ring of Renegades Facebook group. And if not, we'll see you tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Eastern time for our next edition of today's Antidote. Have a great day, everyone. And we will see you soon.
See y'all.
Are you struggling to make your vision a reality? Are you stuck and don't know what to do next? Are fear and doubt holding you back? The Renegade Success Network will help you determine the next steps on your pathway. Here is some of what you will get. Create your pathway call to start you on a better path. Unlimited laser solution sessions to keep you from getting stuck. Nurture your network events to build your network with other successful leaders. Monthly Renegade challenges to prepare you for what lies ahead. The Renegade Success Vault, giving you access to videos, tools, and tips on specific topics anytime you need them. And the Renegade Success Network community, an exclusive Facebook group of like-minded renegades, all working towards achieving their goals. You have a choice. Do it yourself and fumble forward slowly and alone. Or join the Renegade Success Network and be part of a community built to help you find your own pathway. Join today at renegadesuccessnetwork.com. Act now and jumpstart your journey on your own pathway to success.